Hello, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to the Define Tomorrow event. This year has been quite a challenge for many of us, and supposed to be stood here next to me is my Managing Director, John Armstrong. Unfortunately, John is waiting for a COVID test, and in true 2020 fashion, it's been delayed. So first of all, to kick us off, here is a message from John.
Thanks, Barry. Hey, good morning. Sorry I can't be coming to you live from our Define Tomorrow studio. However, big welcome and thank you for joining Computer World's 2020 Define Tomorrow event. What a year we've had. Getting used to home broadcasting, Teams callings, shouting at colleagues who are mute, couriers knocking doors, dogs barking mid-meetings. We've endured it all the last 9-10 months. I'm disappointed not to be stood in person in front of your Ashton Gate, but all being well, we're all looking forward to a post-COVID world in 2021 where we can be together again for these events. Really excited to be sharing 3 days of amazing content with you on infrastructure modernisation, workspace transformation and security. The next few days just wouldn't be possible without our vendors, so a massive thank you to our partners and our vendors who have helped make the next few days and our whole Define Tomorrow event possible. Without further ado then, a pleasure to hand you back to Barry, our Chief Technology Officer, to talk you through the rest of the day. Enjoy the next few days. We really hope we help you shape and define your technology strategy. Enjoy.
Thank you very much, John. As I say, unfortunate that John can't be here today. So I wanted to start by just introducing Computer World to you, those of you that haven't been able to meet with us before or know who we are. We've been around for about 25 years. We're specialist consultants and an IT reseller focusing on infrastructure modernization, everything in the data center, everything behind the scenes that keeps everything working. Workspace transformation, everything that matters to your users, from the devices they use to the applications they're using and everything there in between. And finally, in this day and age, you can't be an IT company without focusing on security. And we certainly focus on the intrinsic security, building security into the solutions that we provide to our customers. We provide a raft of services from IT support to consultancy, architecture, training, and much more between. So if we can be of help, head over to computerworld.co.uk for more information. We've got 3 days for you of fantastic content. I can't be thankful enough to the virtualization community, to all the communities out there. This event, as John mentioned, would normally be in person in Bristol, 200 or so people. But this year we simply couldn't do that. So we put out a plea for help. We reached out to the people in our community that we knew that could put on a really special event for the IT community. And the people that we have had signed up have been absolutely fantastic. And we'll come to those shortly. Today is all about infrastructure modernization and the journey that you will be going on. Tomorrow, we're focusing on the users. It's Workspace Day. Everything that matters to the users, the transformational journey that IT is having to go on. And then finally, on Thursday, we'll be looking at security. Everything you need to do to make sure in this changing world, you and your organization are secure. If you've got any problems during the 3 days and you just need a little bit of help, email meganw@computerworld.co.uk and we'll do the best to help you to make sure you get the best experience. But after the live conference finishes, you will be able to continue to watch the content and take part for the next 14 days. So hopefully you will find plenty of time to get the most out of the content that we've created for you. Now, to make sure that you make the most out of these 3 days, I highly recommend that you go and have a look at our scheduler and add the sessions that are relevant to you, that are important to you, to your schedule. You can scan the QR code on the screen to get there, or if you're in Hay Summit at live.computerworld.co.uk, you'll be able to see your schedule at the top of the screen. We've got fantastic presenters. Today at 10:30, today at 10, I'll be joined by Duncan Epping, and then followed at 10:30 by Frank Denneman. Two massive people in the virtualization community. These are the guys that I got that gave me the reason to get into blogging, that have meant that I've been a vExpert now for over the last 10 years. We've got fantastic content from them, direct from VMware. We then have presenters from Microsoft. We've got Sarah Lean, and we've got others talking about your journey to Azure, WVD, and much more beyond. We've got security presenters. We've got Computer World presenters. We've got everybody representing the industry, hopefully giving you interesting and relevant content to help you on your journey. Now, what would a live event be without a collection of prizes and incentives? First of all of you that are tuned in now are already entered to win a Just Eat voucher. So hopefully we can pay for your lunch today. We'll be giving 50 lunches away today, tomorrow, and Thursday. All you've got to do is take part in the initial live streams each day, and the winners will be picked at random, and you'll get an email into your inbox. The other big prize we've got is our tech bundle that you can see on screen. We've got a drone, a Quest 2, some Surface Buds, and an Alexa bundle. And for every session that you watch, you will get another entry into that prize draw. And if you fill in our questionnaire at the end of the event, you'll get 5 more entries to be able to win that. But just have a look at some of the other things that we've got on screen. Again, scan the QR code, visit live.computerworld.co.uk/perks to get a little bit more information about those and understand how you can take part in those competitions. Now, what would the event be without the sponsors? The sponsors have made this possible. And importantly for us, these are not just people that we've gone out there to help us make the event possible and pay for the event. These are companies that we work with regularly. They're technologies that we trust. Our customers are using these technologies in their businesses on a day-to-day basis. Computer World works very closely with Dell, Microsoft, and VMware, and we then look for technologies to help us with implementing solutions for our customers. And you can see some of those on the screen, and we will be talking to all of those during the conference and understanding how they can help you with your transformative journey. So without any further ado, I think it's time for us to get on to the actual content for the day, talk about infrastructure modernization and what is happening. And I think the best way for us to do that is, first of all, just to look backwards a little bit, have a look on the journey that we've been on over the last 10 to 15 years. Certainly, from my perspective, I've been in the virtualization community now, I think 13 years or more. And it's been a really interesting journey to see how technology has evolved during this time. I don't know if you, like me, you can remember your first time that you saw vMotion in practice. You saw the ability to be able to move a server from one physical piece of hardware to another physical piece of hardware. It was mesmerizing. It was like it was magic. But today we've come to expect that. This is the technology that powers the cloud. In the first few iterations, the first priority that we were all doing was physical to virtual migrations. The change that we saw in the industry was massive. Everybody was doing the same thing in more or less the same way. Yes, you could have chose a different SAN provider. Yes, there were a couple of hypervisors of choice. But really, everybody knew what to do. It made sense. There were cost savings involved. It was easier to maintain. This was a no-brainer. So we did our physical to virtual migrations, and at the same time, the heart of our network, the bit bringing everything together, was probably being upgraded from 1 gig to 10 gig at the very same time. For the first time, shared storage became a mass requirement for all businesses, not just the largest of enterprises. So we had our virtualization environments running the virtual machines that in turn were running the applications. We had shared storage that was largely spinning disk back in the day. But as technology evolved, as storage evolved, we saw flash and hybrid configurations becoming a lot more common. But as we moved into this virtual world, we were able to reassess and reevaluate how we were protecting our workloads. No longer was running agents inside our servers and tape-based backups the correct or the best way to protect our workloads. We could now have a look at technologies in a new and innovative way. Certainly, a lot of our customers were looking at technologies like Veeam backup and replication as they are today. It's become a trusted part of their infrastructure alongside Microsoft and VMware. But we're also looking at ways to replicate virtual machines from one place to another. So as the technologies evolved, we were using technologies like VMware SRM or again Veeam to replicate our workloads from one place to another. SAN technology continued to evolve. Flash-based storage became more common. The network, as demand from the infrastructure went up and we started to need more performance, has started to evolve to go from 10 gig to 25 gig to 100 gig. Lots of our customers that are now reassessing their core networks are by default refreshing to technologies that are supporting these bandwidths. Now, this is for a number of different reasons, but ultimately, we want to make sure that it just works, that it is able to meet the demands that our business will be putting on it, irrespective of what we need to do and when we need to be doing it. And this was really a reason as to why we had to reassess how we were building our virtual infrastructures. Previously, it was made up of a number of components, hardware components, that needed individual specialisms to be able to go out there and manage. You needed the virtualization guy, the network guy. You needed a dedicated storage administrator to bring all these things together. These technologies made massive differences to both IT and business, but they also created a large amount of challenges in terms of how to maintain them. We also saw the explosion of virtual machines. Virtual machine sprawl became very real. No longer to run out a new server did we have to go to finance and get an approval put in before going out there and procuring our server. It was very easy, right-click, create new server, up and running in a matter of minutes. And we saw these virtual infrastructures grow and grow alongside the demand from business for IT-based technologies, IT-based business solutions. So we saw the introduction of hyper-converged infrastructures using the software-defined data center as a construct to be able to bring this together. Technologies like VMware would allow you to be able to run the SAN as a virtual SAN inside the infrastructure, one less component for us to be managing. It became easier to maintain these. We've seen technologies like VxRail from Dell provide all that technology in a single box. One click to upgrade, one click or a number of small clicks to be able to bring a new server online. These have been radicalized to simplify what is going on inside our data centers. But at the same time, we were looking at what was going on in our data centers. We've seen other changes that are going on in our business world, but also in the world of technology. The cloud has exploded. It has now become the must destination for our workloads. Lots of businesses are saying they've got a cloud-first strategy and they were wanting to move their data to the cloud. But technology has changed its relationship from where we were 10 to 15 years ago. Technology, for most companies, for a lot of companies, now are your business. What would the cost to your business be of downtime of those IT systems? It is probably going to be a lot more detrimental today than it will have been in the years past. We've seen new companies come out and we've heard about them all, the likes of Uber and Tesla and all these companies that just simply did not exist 15 years ago. And they've been able to leverage technology to be standing out against the competition. And this is what we need to be doing for our businesses, especially during these difficult times. Businesses are having to radically rethink how they are interacting with their customers, communicating with their employees, all at the same time that we've got to keep the technology running. We've now seen a change happen that is different to the changes that we've ever seen before. In the virtual world and before that in the physical world, we were in a cycle of upgrades from one version to the next version, getting new features that would give us new functionality. But everybody was on the same journey. You were going from Server 2000 to 2003 for 2008. We were going from virtual infrastructure 3 to vSphere 4. All of these changes everybody was doing at the same time in the same direction. But with the advent of the cloud, we have a multitude of different opportunities and different solutions that will be different depending on your workload, different depending on your business. And it's our role as technologists to standardize that, to think about what is right for our business, to create a journey inside our business. But importantly, it is a journey that is going to be customized for you and your organization. And you're not just able to follow a map that has been drawn out by an industry. You've got to get it right for you. So lots of organizations are looking at their data center. And first of all, on their journey to the cloud, they're saying, how can we simplify this further? How can we consume our data center, the infrastructure inside our data center, as if it was a public cloud? How can we keep control of it? How can we automate it to be able to keep up with business demands? We've got technologies like VMware Cloud Foundation, allowing you to create your own cloud inside your organization, your own private cloud. But importantly, VMware also allows you to leverage the same technology in the public cloud, and we will come to that in a moment. We are seeing a mass rise in software as a service, and for a lot of organizations, especially medium-sized organizations, this will be the initial and primary way they will be looking to adopt cloud technologies. Most organizations we're working with have got some implementation of Office 365. We've got other software providers such as Salesforce.com that are making massive inroads and are seeing mass growth in their organizations that are helping their customers in turn. But what is really important when it comes to software as a service is, how is your organization going to utilize it? How are you going to drive that adoption across the business? How are we going to make sure that people have single sign-on, that the software is secure, we know it is protected? We've got to consider the user experience across all these elements when we're considering the software. And for more on this, especially around Microsoft 365, I'd recommend you look into tomorrow's session in our Workspace Day, because we will be covering this in great detail. Next, we've got infrastructure as service, and on the face of it, this seems like the next logical evolution. We've done P2V, this is now V2C. You're moving your virtual machines from on-premises and to the cloud. And that will be the right solution for some customers or for some specific use cases. We're seeing a standardization that DR, previously you were having your primary site and your DR site, two virtual infrastructures for you to manage. It seems an easy decision for the first thing to do to move your DR out to the cloud. Work with companies like Computerworld to be able to focus on other things. Know that you have your DR protected, that it is working, that it is being monitored, without the need to monitor the virtual environment, to keep it upgraded and maintained. It's a service that you are able to consume. We're then seeing other organizations that are looking to leverage the public cloud, moving out in a VMware-centric cloud. Maybe you want to be able to move your VMs from on-premises to the cloud and back again. You want that true flexibility. We've got technologies like VMware on AWS or VMware on Azure, or partnered services such as iland that Computerworld work with alongside those other two, where you are able to have that true flexibility of running on a VMware cloud. The VMware tools will allow you to quickly and easily manage that infrastructure in a very similar way to what you are used to. And we've got a session tomorrow looking at VMware on Azure that I highly recommend that you look into if you're interested in those technologies. And we also have a number of sessions over the next few days ran by iland looking at the services that they provide. But if we talk about the true cloud and the true change that we are seeing, you will see that truly to move to the cloud is about replatforming, about looking in different ways, about moving the virtual machines to a more cloud native way, or moving the workloads to a more cloud native way in terms of application modernization. Now, if we first of all look at the virtual machines, both AWS and Azure offer a wide variety of services where we can move those virtual machines. Typically, we will look at the architecture of the software that is running upon those. We need to look at how we're going to architect the solutions from an Azure or AWS perspective. We need to look at what the needs are for the software, what the performance is required, what the availability is required. Do we need to cluster those virtual machines to get the availability that we're used to seeing on premises? We've got a number of choices that you can take. And certainly from a Computerworld perspective, the first step on that journey is going for a cloud readiness assessment. Our specialists, our cloud architects at Computerworld, will work with you to understand your workloads, understand your infrastructure, understand your business and what you are trying to achieve. And only when we understand all of that, we're able to help map the best solution for you and your workloads over into the cloud to then help you start taking that journey to the cloud. But if we're talking about true application modernization, platform as a service, moving away from running and maintaining the virtual machines, the Windows layer, and consuming the service directly is highly important. If you've got developers in-house, maybe they're looking at the native technologies, serverless and container-based technologies, and they're consuming platform as a service in a public cloud within your organization. Maybe you're moving workloads to the cloud and you're going to move the database from inside a Windows server to SQL as a service. So you have that true choice and that true flexibility. But as I've mentioned, we're seeing a number of other changes. And if you are an organization with in-house developers, undoubtedly they will be talking to you about containers, about changing the way that they are developing code and developing the applications inside your organization. I don't know if all of you or many of you will have read the book, The Phoenix Project. If not, I truly recommend that you read it. It talks about this paradigm shift to DevOps, this continual life cycle of developing in applications rather than main releases. We're breaking down the code into smaller elements, and we're able to execute that and roll that out into containers. And undoubtedly, Kubernetes, the open source platform, is become the leader in being able to manage and get the insight and automate the creation of those containers. But those containers do need to run somewhere. You can make the choice to run those in the public cloud, but many organizations are choosing to run them in their data center as well. We have a wide variety of choices for running containers inside your data center. You are able to run them on container hosts where they are running on physical hardware. We can run them inside virtual machines, inside the container hosts, inside virtual machines. We've got a number of different choices, but there are also a number of difficulties. When we start creating a large number of containers, developers are generally the people that are running that process, that are creating the resources within inside the containers. But we've got to be thinking about the day two operations. We've got to be thinking about how do we secure this? Does it need backing up? And all the other automation elements that maybe we need to take into consideration, such as storage, network, and things like that. Now, this is where VMware comes in, and VMware have completely changed the way that the vSphere operating system, ESXi, is architected to allow containers to run natively on vSphere. And I believe we've got some information about this in Frank's session at 10:30 this morning. So VMware Tanzu will allow the IT operations professionals to be able to maintain and run the containers natively inside vSphere, whilst it allows the developers to still use the Kubernetes platform that they are used to manage, create, and develop the code that they need to be able to inside your data center. So we've got this mass fragmentation. We went from servers to virtualization. All our data was in the same place. We knew where to go and access it, how to protect it, and how to go and back up that data. From a monitoring perspective, from an optimization perspective, we were looking at a single technology to maintain all of that environment. Now, thanks to the cloud, we've got a wide variety of options to optimize the workloads and how we want to work inside our organizations. And typically, we see most organizations with a hybrid cloud, the ability to have some workloads on premises, some in the cloud, but they're also consuming things like software as a service and platform as a service as well at the same time. So we do need to think carefully as to how we're going to manage and maintain this moving forward. We need to consider the data protection strategy. We need to think about when we're moving to each of these clouds, is there residency issues? What security questions do I need to have answered? How am I going to back up the data? What happens if there is an outage with this service? What is our connection on our network going to be like? And this is all before we even start considering the workspace, what's happening to the users, how we're accessing the applications, and how we're now securing the applications in this fragmented world from a user perspective as well. I think it's a really exciting time inside infrastructure. We have the opportunity as IT professionals to lead the charge in modernizing our organization, to creating real value for the organization, and no longer just being the cost center that is sat there maintaining some spinning disks inside a data center. I urge you to get involved with your business, to ask the questions, to understand how the technology can evolve to better suit your business, to help make them more profitable. As I've mentioned, more than happy to join you, any of you, to talk about that journey, talk about what you are considering, whether you are looking at a software as a service implementation, whether you want your next refresh to be your last one and you want to be moving on to a cloud platform such as Azure or AWS, whether you want the ability to flex out and a VMware-based cloud solution may be the right cloud solution for you. Whatever that is, our architects are here to be able to help you. Scan the QR code on screen or visit the link to request your free session. Now, without any further ado, I will be passing over to Duncan Epping, who will be coming on at 10 o'clock. As I say, in any time that you've got left now, go and look at your schedule, look at your agenda, pick the sessions that matter to you. You've got 14 days after the live day to watch them. So thank you very much for watching my journey, the keynote. Join at 10 o'clock for Duncan and 10:30 for Frank for the next sessions.